In this video lecture, we will start with a new topic, isomerism. Right? This is very important topic because in every chapter you will see little about isomerism, right? In the starting of all the chapters of class 11th and 12th, and it is very important because it will, when if you want to do a higher study in chemistry, it will give rise to a different subject in your masters, which is your stereochemistry, right? And without isomerism it would be difficult to understand organic chemistry altogether, right? So this is important. We'll try to understand it in the best possible way. Isomerism, if you look at this word, iso means same, right? This word iso, this means same, right? And merism is taken from the Greek word which means parts, right? Merism is taken from the word meros, which means parts, right? So here isomerism refers to same parts, right? Same parts of something, which we'll just come back to. We'll get back to this, right? Now, the word isomerism, this is coined by scientist named Berzelius, right? Berzelius, along with Wöhler, he was very much surprised when he got to know that two different compounds, right, can have the same molecular formula. He noticed that two compounds, ammonium cyanate, right, and the other compound urea, right? You can see I'm writing these two formula in a different way, right? But their molecular formula, till this point you know about molecular formula from your previous classes, right? What is molecular formula? Molecular formula is something that tells you about the number of atoms and the kind of atoms you have in a molecule, right? So I'll just write it down over here. So molecular formula, suppose this is a molecule, right, that has X number of carbon atoms, Y number of hydrogen atoms, and Z number of oxygen atoms, right? So this is a molecular formula. It tells us about the kind of atoms, what atoms we have in a molecule, and the number of atoms we have in a molecules, right? So carbon, hydrogen, oxygen atoms we have in this molecule, and X, Y, Z are their numbers, right? So it's just giving you information about the number of atoms and what atoms you have in a molecule, right? But it does not tell you how these atoms are connected to one another in this molecule. If we talk about molecules, if you talk about the geometry of molecules, these molecules are connected to one another, right, in space, right? Molecules are three-dimensional, right? So it may be possible that in one form, right, it's possible that we can connect these atoms, right, in this molecule in a different way, right? For example, I may go ahead and connect carbon here, right? I may go ahead and connect like this, right? Suppose say we have three carbon atoms, right? Then I may go ahead and connect this oxygen atom here, right? Or I may connect hydrogen here, I may connect oxygen here, right? Then I may do one thing, I'll take oxygen here, right? I'll take oxygen here, hydrogen here. So what I can do is I can connect this oxygen atom in this molecule in different ways, right? I can connect this oxygen atom to different carbon atoms, right? So when I connect this oxygen atom, right, to different carbon atoms, what we are basically doing is we are, with the same types and the same number of atoms, we are creating different structures, right, that have this molecular formula, right? So this molecular formula can have different structures, right? And we know that one structure represents one compound, right? One structure represents one compound. If I have this oxygen atom here, this is a one compound. If I move this oxygen atom to this carbon atom, then this represents altogether a different compound, right? So the doesn't matter if I keep this oxygen in first carbon atom, second carbon atom, or third carbon atom, the molecular formula will remain same, but its structure is changing, right? So since its structure is changing, one particular structure means one chemical compound, right? So every chemical structure will form different chemical compounds, right? So basically this molecular formula represents different chemical compounds based on how these atoms are arranged in this molecule, right? I hope this is clear, right? So these kind of compounds, right, that have same molecular formula but different structural formula, right? The structures that I'm drawing, right, is your structural formula, right? We have done this in the first chapter about structural formula and molecular formula, right? So compounds that have same molecular formula, right, but different structures or structural formula, right, are isomers, right? Isomers. Now again look at this word iso means same, meros means parts, so same parts, right? All different structures will have same parts. By parts we mean number and the kind of atoms, right? So all structures will have same parts, right? Same number of atoms, right? These atoms are nothing but parts of these different structures, right? So these compounds, right, that possess same molecular formula, right, but different structural formula, we'll just look more about it, right? More on this different structures and chemical formula, same chemical formula, are known as isomers, right? So different structures, right, that we can draw from this molecular formula are isomers. These different structures are isomers, right? And they have same parts, same number of atoms, and same kind of atoms, right? I hope this is clear. And this phenomena, right, where a molecular formula represents different structures and different chemical compounds, right, is known as your isomerism, right? And what Wohler and Berzelius noticed, that these two compounds, right, these two compounds, ammonium cyanate and urea, have the same molecular formula, which is CH4N2O, right? You can see this. We can have two different compounds from this molecular formula based on the arrangement of atoms, right, in these two molecules, right? So ammonium cyanate and urea, you can see they have same number of atoms, right, but they are differently arranged. You can see here carbon atom, right, is connected to nitrogen, right? Here carbon atom is connected to oxygen. Here nitrogen has two atoms, nitrogen has two hydrogen atoms. Here nitrogen, all hydrogen atoms are onto this nitrogen atom, right? So these have same parts, right? Parts of these two molecules are same, but they are differently arranged, right? So such compounds, these two compounds that have same molecular formula, but atoms in these two molecules are differently arranged, that means they have different structures. These two molecules are isomers, right? And this phenomena is known as isomerism, right? Now based on this different arrangement of atoms, right, now we know that a molecule has double bond, single bond, triple bond, right? And a molecule has a functional group as well, right? So these isomers may differ in respect to double bond, triple bond, right? And they may also differ in respect of the in respect to the functional group, right? Functional group, you may notice that in isomers the functional groups are in different positions, right? Or say a halogen atom, which is a heteroatom. We have discussed this in first chapter. Halogen atom, which is a heteroatom. Why it is a heteroatom? Because organic compounds are hydrocarbons. They are made up of carbon and hydrogen. If you have any other atom besides carbon and hydrogen, that is a different atom, a heteroatom, right? So isomers may differ in respect to the position of heteroatom, right? Heteroatom is like here you have nitrogen atom, oxygen atom, right? This nitrogen and hydrogen atom may be connected to say different carbon atoms, right, in different isomers. So based on this different arrangement of atoms, we have different kind of isomerism. First isomerism is your chain isomerism, right? Chain isomerism is, I may have a straight chain, right? I may have a straight chain of carbon atoms. I may go ahead and create a branch of it, right? I may have a branched molecule or a straight chain molecule, both having the same number of carbon atoms and hydrogen atoms or any other heteroatom if you have, right? So if you look at these two molecules, you have the molecular formula for these two molecules is C4H9Br, right? And here in 1 bromobutane means at carbon 1 bromine atom is attached, right? And butane means you have buty means you have a chain of 4 carbon atoms, and ane means it's an alkane, nature of carbon atoms, nature of bonds. Ane means you have single bonds, right? So this represents a straight chain compound, right, that have this molecular formula in which carbon atoms are arranged in a straight chain and you have bromine atom at first carbon atom, right? Now I can make a different structure of this molecular formula where I make a branch of this straight chain, right? Now this compound you can see is not a straight chain compound, you have a branch, right? You have a branch CH3, a methyl group, right? So since here you have a methyl group which is connected to the second carbon atom, the name of this compound would be, on the first carbon atom you still have bromine, 1 bromo, right? On the second you have methyl, 2 methyl, 1, 2, 3. The longest chain is 3 carbon atoms, that means prop, and you have single bond, so ane, right? So just recall what we have done in the previous chapter, naming or nomenclature of organic compounds. I will not be discussing much about nomenclature here, right? So this is 1 bromo 2 methyl propane. Both have the same formula, right? But both have different structural formula, right? Now based on their structural formula, they have different physical properties and chemical properties, because physical and chemical properties of compounds depends on their structures. Now since these isomers have different structures, so one isomer represents one compound, right? And since this molecular formula can have different structures, right, which we call as isomers, right? So every structure will have a different set of physical and chemical properties, right? So isomers will have different physical and chemical properties, right? So this type of isomerism, where isomers differ in the chain of carbon atoms, right? They differ in the chain of carbon atoms. This is your chain isomerism. Here you have straight chain, here you have branched chain, right? Similarly, if you look at this, here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is pentane, right? So I can create a branch, right? If I'll bring this carbon atom, this methylene group, CH2 group here, right? And with this hydrogen atom, one hydrogen atom, it will form CH3 group, right? So I have a different structure now. I can make from this molecular formula only, I can create this kind of structure also, right? So different structures, different compounds, and different physical and chemical properties, because physical and chemical properties depends on the structure, right? Now, like I said, if we have unsaturated compounds that have double or triple bond, if I change the position of double and triple bonds between carbon atoms, what I get is a different compound, right? You can see these compounds, C4H8, right? This is your but1-ene, right? It has a double bond, so it is an alkene, right? Here I have double bond between these two carbon atoms. In this, I have double bond in these two carbon atoms. The name of this is but1-ene, but2-ene, right? 2 represents the double bond, right? So these two are different structures, right? These two represents different compounds which are isomers of one another, right? And they will have different physical and chemical properties, right? Because of their different structures. Now looking at this C3H8O, this is in this, notice the position of functional group, right? Functional group we have studied in previous chapter. Functional group is something that decides the reactivity of compounds. It decides the homologous series, the compounds that have the same the compounds that have the same functional group belongs to a common family. If I talk about OH belongs to an alcohol family, right? So here you can see the position of this OH group. It is here. Now if I move this OH group here, it will change to propane 2-ol. Here it is propane 1-ol. So different structures, right? They have the same molecular formula, right? Different structures, I repeat, same molecular formula, right? So due to different structures, they have different physical and chemical properties, right? And they are isomers of one another. Now you have functional isomerism. Functional isomerism, where you have different functional groups, right? Functional isomerism means the isomers, right? The isomers that you will draw using the molecular formula, different isomers will have different functional group. Let's see this molecular formula C2H6O. If I can draw this molecule CH3CH2OH, where I have functional group OH, right here, and the other structure that I can draw is CH3OCH3, right? Here in the other compound, the functional group is O, which is ether, right? So this is an alcohol group, so this belong to a different family, a different homologous family, which is alcohol family. And here this belongs to a different homologous family because it has a different functional group, which is ether group. So this is an ether, this is an alcohol, but both have same molecular formula C2H6O, but they have different structures. So different structures means different physical and chemical properties, right? Similarly, you have this molecular formula that can have these two structures. This is a carboxylic acid, right? You can see this is the functional group COOH, which represents a carboxylic acid, right? And this represents an ester, right? This is an ester, COOR, right? So this is methyl ethanoate, this is propanoic acid. Both have same molecular formula, right? This molecular formula can have these two different structures. Since they have different structures, they have same molecular formula, so they are isomers of one another, right? Due to different structures, they have different physical and chemical properties. Now we have metamerism, right? There is, if you notice, functional isomerism. In functional isomerism, isomers belong to different families. Now in metamerism, isomers belong to the same family, but the arrangement of alkyl groups around functional group is different, right? What we will do is, in metamerism, with this molecular formula, when we will draw structures, what we will do is, we have the same we have the same functional group, but the way we will arrange the methyl groups around any functional group would be different, right? For example, here you can see this is the ether group, right? This represents an ether group. Now here what I did is, in this molecular formula I have methyl group here, and here I have a propyl group, right? The same molecular formula, I can draw a different structure where I will arrange the alkyl groups in a different way around ether group, right? Around ether functional group. This is the ether functional group. Now in this structure I will arrange alkyl groups in a different way. Here I have methyl group, right? Here you can see I have arranged this in a different way, right? Similarly here I have arranged alkyl groups in a different way. Here this is an ethyl group, this is an ethyl group, right? And I have same functional group in all the three compounds, right? But again, their physical and chemical properties would be different because of their different structures, right? Some of their reactions would be similar, some chemical properties would be similar because of their same functional group, because chemical properties depend on functional group, right? So most of the chemical properties would be same in these compounds, but their physical properties would be different because the physical properties would mostly be decided by these alkyl groups, right? So notice one difference between metamerism and functional isomerism, that in functional isomerism, isomers belong to different families, different homologous families, but in metamerism, isomers belong to the same homologous family. All are ether, belong to the ether group. Here belongs to alcohol group, this belongs to ether group, right? Now there is a different kind of isomerism, ring chain isomerism. Now ring chain isomerism, in ring chain isomerism, ring and chain, right? Ring and chain represents isomers in this name. What I can do is, since I said we are arranging atoms of the same molecular formula in a different way, right? So in one set of isomer, what I can do is, I can arrange atoms in straight chains. Then in another isomer or in another structure, I'll arrange atoms in cyclic form, right? Like here, this is your propene, right? Here we have a straight chain of carbon atoms, right? It has this molecular formula. I can draw this structure where I have a straight chain, right? Or I can draw the same structure this way, right? In a cyclic form. You can see I have a cycle here. This represents a cycle of carbon atoms, right? Sorry. Right? This is a cycle where first and last carbon atoms are joined. It's a cycle, right? So this is your cyclopropane. It's a cyclic compound, so we put cyclo before 3 carbon atoms means prop, right? Then you have ane, it's an alkane single bonds. You have a cycle, so it is cyclopropane. This is your propene. C6H12 is hexene, straight chain compound. It's a chain, we have a straight chain of carbon atom, right? I can draw C6H12 in the cyclic form also. Here, this is a cyclic compound, which is 1-methyl cyclopentane. Here, this represents a different type of cycle. I can draw, that means I can draw different types of cycles using the same molecular formula, right? So this represents a cyclohexane, right? Now comes a tautomerism. This is important. This is little important and this is little vast, right? I'll try to draw. I'll try to make a different video on tautomerism. Tautomerism. In tautomerism, like we are talking about different isomers, right? Different isomers are in dynamic equilibrium with one another, right? Due to a mobile atom, right? An atom that can move, right, between two polyvalent atoms, right? One atom would be moving between two atoms. This atom mostly is hydrogen, right? So when hydrogen is present at one, since I said a hydrogen atom or an atom is moving between two atoms, right? When suppose these two atoms are 1 and 2, when hydrogen atom is at number 1, this represents one compound. If it is at carbon number 2, this represents a different compound. But in tautomerism, both these compounds are in equilibrium. They are in dynamic equilibrium with one another, right? So it's a kind of a reaction, right? You can see these compounds and the two isomers that are in dynamic equilibrium with one another are tautomers, right? So here you can see this is HCN, and here hydrogen atom is connected to carbon atom. Here this hydrogen atom is now connected to nitrogen atom, right? So these two tautomers are in dynamic equilibrium with one another due to this mobile hydrogen atom. This hydrogen atom now in this compound has moved to nitrogen, right? And it makes altogether a different compound, wherein between nitrogen and carbon we have two double bond and one coordinate bond. This arrow represents a coordinate bond. We have done this in coordinate bonding. Now another compound, nitrite form, HNO2, right? Here hydrogen atom is connected to this oxygen atom, right? But if you look at this, hydrogen atom is now connected to this nitrogen atom, right? And this nitrogen atom, in this compound, one oxygen is connected via coordinate bond, the other is connected via double bond. Here nitrogen is connected to one oxygen via single bond and to the other via a double bond. So these two are tautomers, and it is due to this mobile hydrogen. This mobile hydrogen has moved to nitrogen atom in this molecule, right? Now very important is your keto-enol tautomerism. Keto-enol tautomerism, right? So the tautomers, or the different structures that you have, right, or the different isomers which we call as tautomers in keto-enol tautomerism, one will have a keto group, that is a keto functional group, a ketone functional group, and the other will have an enol functional group. Enol means an alcohol, right? So two tautomers would be in dynamic equilibrium. One will have a ketone group, the other will have an alcohol group, right? And this is known as keto-enol tautomerism, right? You can see in keto-enol tautomerism, we have this compound, right, where you have ketone group, right? Now notice this hydrogen atom, right? In this hydrogen atom, if I move one hydrogen atom to this oxygen atom, what you get is a different compound, enol form. Here you have now OH, alcohol group. So this is your enol form, right? And it is due to a mobile hydrogen. This mobile hydrogen connected to this carbon atom. This hydrogen atom can move between these two atoms, right? It can be connected to this carbon atom, and it can move and connect to this oxygen atom, right? So this is a keto form, this is a enol form. I hope this is clear, right? And I hope this is clear, and in another video lecture we will continue with stereoisomerism, right? And I'll make a different lecture on keto-enol tautomerism. Thanks.